Hey everybody, welcome to this live training. I am super excited to do this with you guys. Give me just a second while I get set up. So I was speaking with my editor this morning and we were having huge issues trying to get the desktop screen to be able to be casted during this website. So I'm doing it from my phone. I have my phone on airplane mode and do not disturb, so hopefully it doesn't disturb our training because I still wanted to be able to do it. But let me just make sure that I've got it set up for um, for public display. Hopefully everybody can see this. Okay, so I want to just kind of get started right now. What I've been doing, what I've been recently discovering is that a lot of people have been coming to me in the past, like let's say 3 or 4 months, about their situation with a narcissist as they are entering into court. And so instead of constantly going over this stuff, one on one, I decided to just kind of make these bundles, and I kind of want to describe those things first before getting into the training. So, first of all, I developed 3 bundles that are going to address 3 different stages that you may be in. So, this first stage, which is the one we're going to cover today, is about preparing to leave the narcissist and to face the narcissist in court. I'm going to show you specific tools that you can set up for your own self and how to get organized if you're going to go through the process of facing a narcissist in court. And this is especially important to do in this situation because typically those cases are protracted. They are high conflict, meaning it's unlikely that you reach a settlement agreement that is fair and equitable without seeing a lot of court dates. You'll be in front of the judge a lot. And so the narcissist, one of the tactics that they typically use is to muddy the waters, to make it so that the judge just can't understand who's doing what, and it's very confusing about who said what. By the way, I am going to try to look at the comments, but please, I will look at them towards the end. So if you have questions, please message me the questions in the comments section so I can answer them at the end, because I definitely want to address those for sure. But anyway, you're probably going to be in front of the court a lot, and so you're going to want to have a good system set up in place so that you can keep track of everything that is happening. Plus, doing this can help you identify the patterns of narcissistic behavior. So each narcissist typically goes through this never-ending cycle, right? And so you'll have this cycle is what creates the trauma bond and things like that. So you're going to have, like the love bombing phase, and then that's going to transition into other things, and finally the discard stage until it just starts again. And you're going to want to be able to track that. That's one of the ways that you can expose what's happening, but also this tracker is going to help you and any other person who's involved in your case stay abreast of what is happening. So for example, if you have a guardian ad litem in your case, it's likely that you will need to fill out a timeline anyway. They are going to want to know what has been happening. They want to know your side of the story versus his side of the story. And if you already have that all set up, it's going to give you a better chance of having the third party, whoever it might be, looking at what you are seeing and being able to give you their recommendation or be able to, do something on your behalf in court. So I want to get right into what we are talking about right now in this. I'm sorry, I guess I'll go over the bundles. So this one is going to be all about court, how to organize yourself, how to get this all set up. And I want to show you exactly how to do that so that if you don't want to buy the bundle that I've created for this, you can still set it up yourself and you'll be very organized in order to go to court. And the second bundle is for people who are um, kind of out of that process, maybe. These are the people that I've created them for in my mind anyway, that they are out of that situation, but they are still suffering the ramifications of dealing with a narcissist. So the second bundle is all about detoxing. I have an ebook in that bundle about recipes, how to do a cleanse, just different types of things that you can do for your body. There's affirmations in there. I'm going to go over exactly what is included in each bundle at the end of this broadcast, so don't feel bad if you don't know what's going on, if you just jumped in. You can actually scroll to the bottom of the description in this video, or just scroll down a little bit and you'll see the links, so you can check them out while I'm talking if you want to. And then the third bundle is kind of after all of that, how do you get focused on your life? So there's an ebook that will take you through the exact process of setting up your own vision board, how to actually take steps to not just imagine a life that you would like to live, like your ideal life, but take practical steps to start building it. So you can find the information, the links for those bundles are in the description of this video already. Let's get started on this tracker. So this is one of the main tools that I want you to be able to develop. So in this tracker, the way that it's set up is basically that you'll be able to document every single thing that happens according to issue. And this is done specifically so that you would have the availability to bring up or to address certain issues without them getting lost. This will help you track all of that. Let me go to the first tab here. It's called narcissistic abuse. We're going to track that. And if I can just scroll in here, you're going to see that examples are already preloaded for you. So it's important for you to be able to talk about exactly what was happening. I'm going to get to the key code in just a second. Exactly what was happening, exactly what was said, the date that it was said, how this was communicated to you, what your response to that was, if it requires further action, additional comments if necessary, and once it's solved, I want you to put it into the outcome. You see, I made this key code up here so that you can exactly identify what is going on and be able to track it. Again, this is going to help you expose his specific cycle if you can track, like, hey, on this date, this happened, on this date, this happened, and it continues to go in a pattern. That's really going to support your case for what's happening. I made one as well for legal issues. So these are where you can just file everything that's been filed with the court. So anytime something gets filed, I'm sorry, this is legal issues. So things that the court has already ruled on, but there are problems with that ruling for whatever reason. So, and here again, these are just examples that I put in. Father refuses to attend court-ordered mediation. How is this, violating a court order or a law? And you can talk about how you've tried to resolve this situation. What have you already done? Okay, there's what you do. Here's who you have responded to, how you've handled this. And additionally, you can link everything that you do back to your filing system, which I'm going to cover in just a minute. So here again is the key code, and you can do this your own self if you want, but these additional comments right there, I would absolutely link them so that you have this filing system already set up and you can immediately access all of the supporting evidence straight from your straight from this spreadsheet. We'll go over to court filings. So this is where you put down everything that is filed with the court at all. And again, you want to be tracking everything that's going on with everything that is happening. Everything that goes on, you need to track it. It's easy to get overwhelmed and to just lose track of what happened to what. This will prevent that from happening. And I guess I should have started with a different thing, but sometimes when you're filing papers, those things have to be served. You want to make sure that the service receipt is also filed with the court, that you have a copy of it, all of that kind of stuff. So you can look at here. Again, here is the key code. If you have children involved in your case, I also made medical issues and school issues tabs, because you may need to demonstrate that there are serious issues involved in his parenting, um, whatever that would look like. And so even if it's not directly towards you, it's not exactly directly against a court order, but there's some major issues, I just want you to see you can track that as well, and you should be tracking that as well. So you can write down any medical concerns, any additional comments, what happened, and the outcome of it as well. You want to document that. Same thing with the school issues. So if there's ever an issue, you need to put it down, document the date, talk about how you communicated about that issue, what the response to your communication about the issue was, any additional comments if necessary, and also the outcome or follow-up. You can look here again with the key code, and you would want to hyperlink everything that is going on in this tracker. So this makes it very easy. Again, if you need to be assisting your attorney in gathering evidence and stuff like that, this is going to make it so much easier for you to do. I want to show you now quickly a preview of this ebook that's included in this package, this bundle that I'm talking about right now. I just wrote this up. It's called Clear Justice, and basically I just want you to know what to expect, what you can be prepared for even before you enter into court proceedings. I want you to know exactly what procedures are typically used. Here's a glossary of typical terms that may be used during your court session. Here's some examples of common filings that you should expect to be familiar with during your time in court. And at the end, I have a prayer, some scriptures that you can recite over yourself. And I put this together too, just because I was having a lot of questions about what can I do if, I file this and he doesn't want to do it, and then what happens after that. And so this will kind of help you understand what to expect, everything from the start of your court procedure to the end of your court procedure. This isn't legal advice. This is just this is just educational and informational data. So this is not legal advice, and it says that in there, and you understand if you buy this, I'm not giving you legal advice. I just want you to be aware of what you could be expecting as you go into court, and just so that you have an idea and a handle on some of the terms and some of the filings that you can expect to see during that time. I want to move on now to the filing system itself. So again, in the bundle, I wrote this all up about exactly how to do it. I'm going to cover this right now. You want to have a filing system that is not on your desktop, and it's not in your email. You want to have a system that is very thoroughly thought out, and that you can access in an instant, that is very organized once you're in there, and that you can be able to share large documents with people that you may need to, for example, your attorney, at any given time. So I highly recommend that it's done through Dropbox, or it's done through Google Drive or the cloud, because you can access those from anywhere, and in my own situation, I had to access that all of the time. Even if I was in the hospital with my daughter or something like that, I needed to be able to access the court documents that were in there, and it made it much easier for my attorneys to keep track of everything that was going on. So when you get into a filing system, you need to be very specific in how you document and catalog everything. So I recommend you going off of the tabs that I showed you earlier in the Excel sheet. You should make folders that correspond to each of those things, and make sure that when you upload the documents into those, that they have a very, very clear title as to what they are opening, what you are opening. And once you've uploaded it into your filing system, you should hyperlink it. You should hyperlink it back to that Excel tracker sheet for sure. And I'm going to cover one more thing. Okay, well, I'll do that in just a second. So you want to be able to have this entire filing system ready to go should you need to do anything at all. Again, if you have multiple people who have their hands on your case or who are looking into what the situation is, you want to be able to give and deny permissions immediately. You want to be able to create and share information with people, but maybe you don't necessarily want, for example, you don't want the guardian ad litem, you don't want the co-parenting counselors to be able to see all of your communication with your attorneys. And this is why I'm saying do not try to do it in an email, because if you forward an email that you didn't mean to forward and it has a bunch of other data on it, a bunch of other communications in it, that's something that you can't take back. But if you will sit down every day and just take the last, like, let's say 10 minutes before dinner to upload everything that had happened, you can click on the little printer button on your email. You can turn your emails into PDFs. I highly recommend you do that even with your attorneys. Make a separate filing there, like communications with attorneys, and then make sure that you date each one. And that's simply because you will be surprised at how much stuff happens so quickly when you're facing a narcissist in court. And I didn't set up a good filing system for probably 5 months into my case, and there were hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of documents that were just from court, not to mention my daughter's medical stuff. So, I'm really trying to tell you, like, this is what I wish I would have done straight away from the beginning. And once I figured out how to do the system, it was so much easier. I'm not sure if you're familiar with my case or not, but I had gotten a lot of the news and media people involved in what was happening in the Hillsborough County courthouse and the judges in the case and things like that. So I had made a separate system, a separate folder that I could share with news outlets, because it was important that they had facts, that they had actual documents proving what I was saying and what the situation was that I was facing. And yet I didn't want to give them access to all of the things, right? I don't need them publishing my daughter's medical records or anything that was confidential in nature. And so I had all of these different filing systems set up, and it made life so much easier, because as soon as somebody would contact me and be, was interested in looking into my case or reporting on the situation, I could give them that information straight away. Okay, I want to show you one other thing, which I really encourage you to set up here, which is this, a running timeline with a narcissist. So this is separate from the other, the tracker, and this is separate from your filing system, although these three things kind of all feed into one another. So you want to first of all be able to give a background of, like, a summary of how you met the narcissist, where you are now, what's going on in your relationship, a background of that. What I like about doing it here, you can do it in Google Docs as well. This is just a Word doc, but you can, again, hyperlink everything back. So if you have specific things that, like, sparked you to, let's say, file a restraining order, and you have a copy of that that restraining order being granted, you need to upload that document into your drive. You need to hyperlink it into the description of this, the running timeline, where you can, where somebody who would be reading over this would be able to access it immediately. Next, once you're done with that summary, like, maybe put a reminder in your phone, by the way. Like, this is how I started to do my life, is that I had all of these reminders in my phone about what I needed to do. So again, you can, once you have a proficient system, you should be able to take care of this in no more than 15 minutes a day. but I would see the reminder. I need to write on my timeline. You want to make sure you're keeping track of everything that happens. So here again, these are just examples that I put in here for you to observe what I mean by a running timeline. I mean, every single day you need to enter into this timeline whatever has happened that day. So anything to do with your kids or the narcissist or court or anything like that, you need to put it in this timeline. This timeline is not meant for you to just send the document to, a third party person that is not your attorney. This is really meant for you specifically and for your attorney if necessary. But it does give you a great reference if you do need to give somebody a timeline. You can pull out the major issues that have happened or the major occurrences within your case, and you don't have to rely on your memory. And this is going to help you a lot too with learning how to handle and manage the stress that you're in, learning how to kind of create that space even in the midst of chaos for you to be able to adjust to a different type of life, a different type of lifestyle. And your memory, your brain, your body are already going to be taxed. So you don't want to be trying to remember everything that happens. So it's really important that you just write everything down. So look here, for example. Okay, so this is again example. 10/15/2019, father filed his objection to court-ordered mediation. So instead, I filed a motion to compel to get him to attend. Judge gave him 10 days to comply with the original court order. So that's all that happened that day. You see, it doesn't have to be a huge drawn-out thing. Now, if this was a real situation, I would hyperlink it. Like I would create another thing that maybe says like see evidence here or whatever, and I would hyperlink it back to my filing system so that I know where I put that stuff that I need to show. Like this was the order, this was the father's objection to the order, this was my motion to compel. Every single one of those things is hyperlinked, right? And then the judge's reply of giving him 10 days to comply. So I would hyperlink all of that stuff. So you can see here, again, this is just an example, 10/17, no communication, no occurrence. Even if nothing happens, you want to take the time to write something into this running timeline, because again, you can use it to start building or to start showing patterns of how the narcissistic abuse specifically to you and to the narcissist work. You want to be able to show that pattern because this is significant in proving that there is a methodical and thought out plan to what he is implementing, that it's not just random or it's not just you interpreting him to be doing something. You actually have the evidence, okay? So there's some examples that you can fill out there. Also included in this package, I made a leaving the narcissist checklist. So this checklist, if you're in my private Facebook group, you can get this checklist in there. If you're not in my private Facebook group, you could join. It's just a community meant to support and encourage each other as we all are in different phases of experiencing narcissistic abuse or recovering from it. And then finally, a preparing to go to court checklist as well. So that these are the 6 things that are in the bundle that I put at the bottom of. I put the link to the bottom in this recording in the description of this video. So what my goal is to do with these again is to serve those 3 different tiers that we can find ourselves in that are common to narcissistic abuse and also recovering. So the first one is obviously everything to do with court, to help you get organized, to help you stay focused, and to give you an outlet for your thoughts, for your feelings, for your own memory, so that you can free up space and you can rest assured that everything is being tracked, nothing is going to get lost, and you actually have the methodology put in place to support that. You're not just telling yourself that, you've actually established a way to track it. Second of all, that second package is going to help people who have left the narcissist, but now you're left with, you know, the trauma and what to do now. And that bundle is called "I Left the Narcissist, Now What?" And again, it has declarations in there. There's the Cleanse Me ebook. You can see a preview of that ebook if you click on the pre-order link in the description. There's a predetermined choices worksheet, so this is going to help you make predetermined choices when it comes to responding to the narcissist. If you need to, because you co-parent together, you own a business together, whatever it would be that you would still need to communicate with a narcissist. Also making predetermined choices when it comes to discussing and talking about this with your kids, or discussing and talking about it with other people, and even just your own thinking patterns. So making predetermined choices on what you're going to believe, what you're going to come into agreement with, what you're going to say and speak out over yourself. There's an identity rehab ebook, which includes a bunch of worksheets and exercises to help you really figure out who you are. It's common that when people leave a narcissist that they truly do not know who they are, and it causes just such a disconnect of like, what am I even here to do? And you know, that loss of meaning or purpose in life. And it's not, I don't say that in a judgmental way. I totally understand that that's a common thing. And so this that ebook and those exercises and worksheets included in the ebook really will help you to get back to your true self and your centered, finding your center in life. And then also there's going to be self-care activities, as well as journaling prompts. So learning how to properly journal, learning how to process your memories in a healthy way. I have a short video on that. It's called Memories and Narcissism, if you want to kind of check out why we use journaling and things like that. This will be more of like the prompts to get you to help journal, as well as like a checklist. So you're going to try to choose 5. I recommend trying to get done 5 of those self-care activities every week. And then if you can, work up to 1 or 2 a day. But really learning how to become still and okay without chaos, because again, it has to do with breaking the trauma bond, and I have videos that I talk about that as well. You know, you need to have those things in place. And then finally, the third step, it's called Moving Forward. That'll be the third bundle. There's an ebook with exercises and worksheets in it that help you determine purpose. So now you know who you are. What do you want to do in life? You know, is this a whole new chapter for you? Are you going to try to do like a little bit of what you have been doing over here, and you're going to start something new? I have a lot of clients who do that, who are like, this was way too traumatic for me to ignore it and just go back to my normal life. I need to do something with what I've experienced. And so this will help you navigate that and what that would look like specifically for you. There's exercises that help you determine a new baseline, how to establish it, how to track it, and how to progress. So if your new baseline is like on a scale of 1 to 2, a 3, how do you get to a 4? How do you get to a 5, etc.? Tracking your thoughts. So what thoughts do you have most throughout the day? This worksheet will help you do that, and learning how to do check-ins with yourself throughout the day. Again, another predetermined choices for thoughts and responses, but this one is more in depth. So it's not meant to be like the second one, which is basically like, I've determined to do this and I'm just going to do this. This one is really like, why am I doing it? It's really helping you to navigate what's the foundation of why we're doing predetermined choices. We have another one, it's called Creating Space Worksheet, which helps you establish boundaries, come up with appropriate responses for when you need to enforce the boundaries and things of that nature. And the final thing included in that, the 6th thing included in that bundle, is an ebook that takes you through the process of creating a vision board, how to use that vision board to implement your next steps and to really create the life that you want, like how to appropriately use a vision board, as well as how to create one. So those are the things that are included in the bundle. So the bundles are $30 each, except for right now through Sunday. I'm running a special. If you pre-order The three bundles altogether will be only $50. So it's nearly half off, but it's only for 5 days. So if you want to get that, you can, again, go into the description of this video and pre-order. You'll have immediate access to the 6 tools that I showed you today. The 6 items that I went over today will be included and are ready for immediate download and use by you right now. And then the other 2 bundles will be sent to you no later than 20 days apart. It'll probably be 14, but so in 2 weeks you'll get the second bundle, and in 2 weeks you'll get the third bundle. And again, you'll have those to access and save for later if you're still on step number 1, or maybe you're kind of wanting to look ahead and do some things that might set you up for a better foundation in the future with step 3. Even though you're on step number 1, you want to work ahead. That is all included there. So, okay, let me look at what I got here. Wow. Well, Kelly, we are, I'm excited that you are getting out of that situation, and we will keep you in our prayers for sure. It's a big step, definitely, to go through the divorce process anyway, and especially when you're going through a divorce with a narcissist, it's even more so. It's not the normal experience that people have. So that's amazing. You guys, do you have any questions before I get off of here? Again, even if you don't buy these bundles, I wanted you to be able to have these tools. These are, again, some of the most common questions, especially in the last 4 months. I've just been getting so many questions about preparing to go to court and how to do that, and how to make sure that the narcissist doesn't muddy the water, how to make sure he doesn't do the blaming thing where he's going to blame you or make something out of nothing or gaslight you or do any of his tactics. This is really going to help you to keep track of all of that stuff and to make sure that each item is addressed in order. So, not just going through the motions and like filing responses or filing paperwork to try to get him held accountable, but actually being able to track that and see what the responses are, and having a very well thought out, well laid out plan on how to present that information to somebody who is not familiar with you, who is not familiar with your ex, and who is trying to make decisions for your entire life, and for, if you have children, your children's lives, about what happens with that. And so the more information that you can give and the better laid out plan that you can do that, the clearer the picture is, the less likely that there's going to be any kind of ability for the narcissist to use this stuff against you, or to kind of lie his way around the facts or out of the situation. So I hope that this has really helped you guys. Even if you don't get the bundle, please make these things for your own self, and learn how to set up a filing system. Again, put reminders into your phone so that you fill out this tracker every day, you fill out the running timeline every day, and you upload any communication that happened between you and your attorneys, between you and the guardian ad litem, the co-parenting counselors, any sort of communication or other evidence and documents. You want to make sure that that's all kept organized in your filing system. Remember to hyperlink everything, and I think that's it. Yeah. So you guys, thank you so much for joining me on this live video. I'm sorry that we could not figure out how to get the software to work for the streaming from my laptop. So I'm sorry about doing it on my phone, but thanks for bearing with me. And if you guys have any questions, go ahead and put them in the comments, and I'll try to answer them when I get back on here later on and check through those. Otherwise, that is it. I'm just going to give you just a second here just to see if there's any other questions before I sign off. And if not, that's great. I hope that I answered a lot of your questions, that I helped you get a better handle on what's going to be necessary for the duration of your time in court. And yes, and I just want to say one more thing too, which is that I kept a running timeline, and these things, thanks, Bob. I'm so glad. These things were also, the running timeline were points that I would go back through to journal later on. After I was out of the process, I would go through and just journal about those points and how certain things felt, or how that affected me. And anyway, having that ability to go back and have an accurate account of what had happened, and really being able to take the time to kind of look at it from all of the perspectives and then sort through it with my own thoughts as I journaled, was super healing for me. And you probably know already, I wrote a course off of it, I've written a book about it, and so this serves a great purpose for you right now for keeping track of everything as you go through the court process, but it also serves an amazing tool that you can use later on in your recovery process. And even if there's ever somebody else that would need help, you would be able to show, like, these are all of the things. Yeah, it is super stressful. I definitely understand, like, will this ever end? And I tried to make this general enough for everybody, regardless of state, and also specific enough to make it useful and usable for people. So I don't know what state you're in or which specific situation you're looking at, but there is an end. Everything has to come to an end. So there's always going to be an end. I wish I could tell you it takes 3 months, it takes 9 months, it takes 5 years. I don't have a time frame. I can't tell you this is when it's going to end, but I can tell you it will end. And I think probably the second package is more appropriate for answering that question, only because I have so many affirmations in there, including about your children and how to speak with them about what's happening, and just getting a better handle on how to overcome the abuse part of it, like in your body, in your soul, and in your spirit, and really being able to take knowledge and information and turning it into wisdom. Like that second one is more geared to this. But I definitely understand the situation. I'm not I definitely understand the feeling of being afraid and just being overwhelmed with everything that's happening. What I can say is that you can only come into agreement and try to control what you have control over. I can't make another person believe something. I can't make another person do something. What I can control is how well I document things. What I can control is my responses to any given situation, whether that's to the narcissist, to the court, to my children, to, just my own emotional response to what is happening. I can control those things. I can't control everything else. And it's, as hard as it is, coming to a place where you are okay with that. I have to give up control of all of these things because I don't have ultimate say and authority over what in the end is going to occur or whatever. But I am confident that I am doing every single thing that I know how to do in my ability. I am doing it all. And coming to a place of peace with that. And again, I know that this can be difficult when you're so overwhelmed. You're going to court all of the time. There's a lot of people who are not either educated about narcissists or who are narcissists themselves working within the court system, and so it can feel very isolating, like you are having to both educate people, defend yourself, defend your children, trying to do all of these things, and trying to just kind of take a step back and create again that space between you and the chaos, and really taking a look and saying, like, what I can do is this. I can make sure that I track everything to the best of my ability. I can make sure that my argument is very thorough, that it's very clear cut, that I've done the work that I need to do. Count or court? We are talking about court here. So anyway, yeah, okay. I'm not sure. We're talking about court. well, I'm not sure what that comment's about, but anyhow, yeah, and just really being able to um, release the things that you can't control, and that's all you can ultimately do. Um, you're going to drive yourself crazy if you're trying to do the things that you cannot do. So instead, focus on the things that you can do and do those ones really well, and do them to the best of your ability with excellence. And it's taking it day by day too is something else. It's I just would get up every day and I knew that I was about to face hell that day again, and I would just try to um, look at the things that I didn't do great yesterday and try to improve upon those things today. Like, you get a new chance to do that every day, and staying centered, staying focused, and remembering your ultimate why, like why you're going through this process. And you have children, so you know the value and what's at stake, at what's at risk in the way that you do what you can do, in the way that you present your information, the way that you keep track of what's going on, the way that you take care of yourself, the way that you take care of your kids, all that kind of stuff. It all affects the overall outcome. So that is what I have to say about that. But anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I hope this was helpful. And again, you can go check out those bundles if you're interested. The links to all of them are in the description below in this video. Otherwise, please create these for yourselves and get yourselves organized. And even if at first you have to take a couple of days to get all of your information organized, maybe you're already in court or whatever, please do that. I'm telling you, like, it might seem like, oh, I only have a few months left, it won't be worth it if I do that. I'm telling you, it's going to be worth it. And especially if you end up going to trial, where there's going to be court hearings basically for like 2 or 3 days, usually maybe a week, and you are going to need to be able to present all of your information exactly. So I talk about all of that in the ebook that I wrote, that Clear Justice ebook, exactly why we're doing all of these trackers, exactly why and how all of this stuff ties into each other. So you can read that if you feel led. But otherwise, again, thank you guys so much for tuning in.